Hi folks, I'm Rachel Pierce, and this is my friend
Katrina Eames.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about Hamilton, obviously, and Hamilton's impact on popular music and on Broadway in general. But before we do that, what do you like to make videos about? Tell us.
I like to make all of my videos come from the idea that I want to teach my youngest brother to be a good person, and I want to make the world a better place through my creativity and my intelligence and love of researching. So I make a lot of political videos. I make a lot of videos about why empathy and compassion are important things, and how lots of inequalities in the world are solved with compassion, empathy, and working towards justice with the community.
That's like an amazing idea for a channel, and like that's so cool. I don't think I've ever heard you say that before, or heard like anyone say anything like that. I like your videos because you are, and I like to think that I do this as well, but you are very good at like putting larger things into context, so we understand more of like what's happening and why it's either a good thing or a not great thing.
Yeah.
So
I try very hard to do that.
Yeah.
Especially since lots of my videos are addressed to what is currently a 7-year-old child.
Yeah. But we both love Hamilton
a lot.
So obviously we had to talk about Hamilton while we were here and together. Right?
Yeah, like what else would we even do?
I mean, we could have sung some Hamilton. That was an option. I think that, and I think you'll agree with me here, that Hamilton is kind of the next theory of evolution in Broadway in general, but even on a more larger perspective, it's like the next evolution of musical storytelling as a whole.
You can really see how it's progressing several different genres and different formats of entertainment, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I like living in the time that Hamilton was made a lot.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we even see it like in the show itself. It's not just like the music, it's the whole show is like, this is what's next on Broadway.
Yeah.
This is what we want next in media, to have like really thoughtful and diverse and new ideas and themes going into something that is very well established and has existed for a really long time, like Broadway has. Yeah. I feel like the last time there was really any big like shake-up in Broadway was with Rent.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess an argument can be made for In the Heights as well, with like the salsa music and more new styles, but that's just like the evolution of Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah. And I feel like that's more of the person and not of the genre of musical theater in a lot of ways, because In the Heights is a great show, but it didn't actually make a lot of waves or have a lot of influence in the community in changing how things are done.
Yeah.
But I personally love it.
Rent is like that's the last time that there was a show that was so alternative to most of what's on Broadway that has spawned people imitating it and also like making rock musicals. Even the ones that like did have the bigger budget and were like well thought of and even like were nominated for Tonys and stuff did not have as much staying power as Rent did. Things like Rock of Ages and like School of Rock now is doing pretty good. Yeah. But Rent was the first one to really say like, okay, we're gonna do something really different that you've never seen before.
Before Rent, musicals were just pleasant and entertaining, and they didn't have to necessarily say a lot to be considered good musicals.
Yes, that's a really good point. Musicals were never Broadway in general, like plays were taken very seriously and like would have political points to them. I'm thinking of The Crucible just because I'm familiar with it. I did it in high school. But musicals were not very political. Like, I'm racking my brain trying to think of a semi-political musical.
So one thing I've noticed as musicals have been changing is that it follows the path of lots of other narratives. It starts out very, very white and gradually becomes less so.
Oh.
Ending in Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then
That's a good point.
Rent has a very diverse cast where about half the characters are white.
Yeah.
And about half the characters are... Well... A third of the characters are straight and cis. And Hamilton, of course, made the point to have a mostly non-white cast. And I think that's been really revolutionary because it's also allowing more people to tell their stories and access their narrative and access this field of entertainment, which has historically been incredibly white. Now, I pass as white, so a lot of the times I'm not affected by these casting decisions when I go in for things, because I can just pretend that I'm white and not Asian.
Right.
But I also am not white enough to go up for white roles, and I'm not Asian enough to go up for Asian roles, so I don't get cast for anything, which stinks.
You could be cast for Hamilton?
I could be Hamilton.
You could be Hamilton.
I could be Hamilton.
Maybe not.
Actually, that's a lot of pressure. I'll be Peggy.
Yeah. You're good, Peggy, right? Like Leslie Odom Jr., Debbie Diggs, like they're all getting roles in TV and in movies now because of Hamilton.
Like, it's really progressed their careers further, which is great, and also, like, I know that Daveed Diggs has made it, because Daveed Diggs was on Sesame Street, and that's when you know you're famous once you get invited to Sesame Street.
He's like a regular on Blackish now.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It works narratively as well. Like, I think that stories and, like, the way that storytelling exists on Broadway's kind of like a testing ground for new actors, but also for new ways of telling stories. And I think we're going to start seeing it more and more in other forms of media. We're going to start seeing movies that use music more, and hip-hop, I imagine, more in ways that, like, are not just, oh, we're using hip-hop, like, as a background to a club scene. Like...
We're using hip-hop to show that this is an urban environment. So people are becoming more aware of musical theater in a way that I never thought that I would experience in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Because just because I burst out into song, if you say, like, 3 words, normally means that I'm the only person bursting out into song.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But, recently, for the winter, I worked at an ice skating rink, which is a super fun place to work, because after Christmas ends, they just have a nice top 40 playlist, and at one point, I, obviously singing along to all of the music that is played all the time, sometimes without recognizing the songs, and we get about halfway through the song, and I'm going, and I'm just jamming out, and I think, wow, this sounds really familiar. What is it from? What could this possibly be from? And it's like, forgiveness, can you imagine? And I'm like, wait a minute, this is a popular song now.
Yeah, it's been really great talking with you, and just talking about Hamilton in general. You can never get enough Hamilton.
I've also enjoyed talking with you, and Hamilton, just so much Hamilton.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. Check over on Katrina's channel. We did a video over there about the history in Hamilton, like the history in the story, and what they did right and what they did horribly wrong.
What they took some creative liberties on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice way of putting it. I was not being
wrong.
so nice.
But Ron.
Yeah. And give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you feel so inclined.
Watch all of my videos and the advertisements before them.
There we go.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a great place to end. We're in my sister's apartment yet. It's great.
Yeah.
She hasn't met her yet.
I haven't had the chance. Wait, is she in France now?
No.
Okay.
She's at work.
Just checking.